We are so thrilled to be partnering with Hinge. Hinge is the dating app designed to be deleted. As you all know, I'm a huge Hinge advocate as I met my partner of almost 3 years on the app. Even before meeting him, Hinge was always my go-to app because I met more relationship-minded people here and had some great dates. Clearly, I haven't been on the app for a little while, but I re-downloaded it to check out some of the new features. One that stood out to me was the voice prompt, my best friend's take on why you should date me, where your friend can hype you up. Not only does this make the profile creation less daunting, but it's not always easy to see your own green flags. So to test it out, I asked Yue some fun prompts to get her take on what I could put if I was dating again. So the first one, how long have we known each other? What was your first impression of me and how has that changed?
Julie and I have known each other for almost 10 years. My first impression of Julie was that she's very social, but I've learned that she has a lot more depth to her beyond the social butterfly that she is.
My next prompt, what do you think are my green flags?
I would say she's deeply loyal. She believes in love, curious mindset, and she is fearlessly ambitious.
And then last but not least, what kind of friend am I?
Julie is the kind of friend who will always have your back, no matter what.
Damn, that feels nice to hear. So download Hinge and try voice prompts today. Then find someone worth deleting the app for. I was so excited to get my shipment from Last Bottle Wines in the mail the other day, full of incredible red wines, all from Napa Valley. I love wine tasting, so having this to my door couldn't be happier. Also, couldn't be more excited that today's episode is brought to you by Last Bottle Wines. If you don't know already, they're a Napa-based online wine shop with a twist. They offer just one handpicked wine per day until it sells out, and they're always at incredible prices. We're talking 30 to 70% off retail. And the best part is that there's no subscriptions, no fees, and no minimum purchase. And I could not be more excited to bring this offer right now because they're having a marathon sale, which is coming up March 28th and 29th. Even better, we're offering Dateable listeners 10% off your first order with code DATEABLE. So if you are a wine lover like me, this is a great time to join. And did I mention that shipping is 100% free? So what are you waiting for? Mark your calendar for March 28th and 29th or get on it earlier if you want. You can sign up at lastbottlewines.com and use code DATEABLE and find out why Last Bottle is the most fun way to discover and buy amazing wine.
The Dateable podcast features real stories from real people of how they make modern dating work, or not. I'm your host, Yue, former dating coach turned dating insider, if you will. On each episode, you'll hear commentary from my producer, Julie Krafchick, and other surprise co-hosts. This episode of Dateable is brought to you by 500 Brunches. 500 Brunches connects like-minded people with similar interests to meet in real life over brunch. You answer a quick questionnaire about your interests and how you spend your time, and then they'll match you in small groups of 6 to 8 at a brunch spot in San Francisco. Get a free entry into a brunch now by signing up at 500brunches.com and using the code DATEABLE. Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of Dateable, a show all about modern dating. Happy New Year, everyone! Before we start season 8, we have 2 special episodes for you guys that are, I guess you can see them as interim episodes where we get everyone off to a good start for 2019. Yeah?
That's a good way to put it. There you go.
So this episode, we're going to talk about the top 5 dating resolutions we should have for the new year. And it's all based on what we've learned in the past. Yeah?
Yep.
So let's start with number 5. I like this one a lot. Quality over quantity. People always feel like it's a numbers game. Dating is a numbers game. The more people you go on dates with, the better your chances are of finding someone you really click with. Well, we actually disagree with that. I think it's more about how you connect with someone and the quality of the dates that you go on. I know so many people who go on these like random coffee dates or drink dates that last maybe an hour and they walk away feeling blah. And that's how you get dating fatigue, right, Julie?
Yeah, I think also like if you're it's all about your mindset. So like going on one really great date that you're excited about, that you're in like an environment that's warranting like kind of that intimate behavior, I think that's a lot better than going on like 10 coffee dates that don't go anywhere.
Absolutely. And the problem with when you date too many people or when you pack your days with so many dates is that once you're on one date, you're thinking about the next,
Totally.
right? And so you don't think about how special this date is when you're like anxious about the next date you have. And I always think of my friend Brooke in New York who went on like 5,000 Tinder dates or something like that. And she was single for a long time because once she was on one date, she was thinking about what her Friday looked like and how she didn't want any downtime. So she was like trying to pack it in. And at the end of the day, guess what? She found her now husband on an off day when she had no dates planned and she was just at a bar with friends.
Yeah, I remember Jenna also saying on one of our episodes, the one with Empire Strikes Back, about like what was missing in today's dating world was like this like getting ready and getting excited for like the big date, like because people think they're so dispensable and like people don't want to get their hopes up and they don't want to do all this stuff, which makes sense.
Yeah.
But at the same time, by not like treating it like something big, it also makes it like not have that same quality.
Yeah. I would encourage everyone to go on these dates like how you would want someone to date you. So do you want to be just a number on someone's list, or do you want to be like the date that they have planned for that week?
And I think I could hear people being like, well, I don't want to get dressed up for like someone that might not pan out, but there could be also like conversations ahead of time. Like,
filter them.
Yeah, like I think there's ways to make it that like you're setting yourself up for success.
Yep. And that leads us to resolution number 4, which is seize the moment more. I think we are so dependent on these dating apps. And, 2 years ago, we were looking at a lot of dating fatigue. And I think last year, for those seasons that we did, it seemed like people were getting off the dating apps and trying to meet people in real life. We're like trying to get back to the old school way of meeting people. And one way I really liked our guest Amanda presented it, she was like, if I'm somewhere and I see a cute guy and we make eye contact, that is my moment. That is my moment to go talk to him and meet him, because who knows if I'll ever see him again.
Right. She was like, what do I have to lose, basically?
There is absolutely nothing to lose. What is wrong with approaching another human being and saying hi to them?
Yeah, I think seize the moment can mean some other things too. Like if you're on a dating app and you're talking to someone, or you're a woman and want to make the first move, like go for it.
Yeah. When dating apps first came out, I think this paradox of choice was such a conundrum for people, because you always felt like you had better options waiting for you. But I think in the last 2 years, people have really realized just because there's an abundance of options on these dating apps, it doesn't mean that they're all right for you. So if you do find someone that you're like remotely interested in or attracted to, seize that moment and try to develop it versus trying to think about the next swipe that you have.
And I think like men too can get in their heads like, oh, I don't want to ask out too soon. And then there's like this misread that the woman's like, why isn't this person asking me out? So I'd say to either party, just like go for it.
Yeah.
Like if someone presents like an indicator that there's a green light, like it doesn't have to be the first message that comes out. But if you're talking for someone, like people will make hints if they want to like meet up. And if not, like end the conversation and be like, let's meet up sometime.
So Julie, you know that I have a fake dating profile for research purposes, and I'm totally fine telling you guys. And the reason why I have this dating profile is because I want to see how people meet these days. I'm not using these dating apps for my own personal purposes anymore. But what I found is nobody does an ask out. It's like maybe 15% of people do an ask out.
Weird lingering convo for a lot of time. Yeah.
It's so odd because you have all that momentum in that first like hour that you're talking, and then it just dies down the next day, and then it just literally dies.
You really have to do it in that first hour.
But I tried this experiment where I would ask the guys out pretty soon, and they would always come back and say, wow, that was really aggressive of you, or I've never had this happen so soon. It's like, people are taken aback by it. So if you do seize the moment and ask someone out, then you actually stand out from the crowd. All right. Another way to stand out from the crowd is our resolution number 3. Make more eye contact.
Yeah.
Julie, I cannot tell you how many times a day I would interact with so many people and I forget what they look like because I didn't make eye contact with them. We're so in our own worlds.
This is a good one too because it can be on different levels. Like I think what Amanda was saying, like it's a really great way to kind of make that first move at a bar by having eye contact because then at least you've kind of established that you both have an interest before going in cold. But then also I feel like if you're showing up to dates, like making eye contact shows like a presence.
Yeah.
So I think it's in all stages of like the initial meet and then also like when you're actually starting to date and get to know someone.
Yeah. And even if you're not romantically interested in someone, try to just make eye contact with them as practice. The other day, I practiced trying to make eye contact with every person I came in contact with. So going to Starbucks, saying thank you to the barista, making eye contact with them. And you know what? It was scary.
Yeah.
It was scary because that's like a moment. That's a moment of like seeing someone.
But I don't know if you've ever had a conversation with someone that looks down when they're talking. And I think it comes off that they like, that there's something wrong with you, even though it's really about them and like them being like insecure or like uncomfortable. Yeah. But it kind of makes them it feel like there's like this air of like arrogance in a way. Yeah. Like I don't need to look at you. And it doesn't feel like they're present with you and connecting.
Yeah.
So I think like if you know that habit of yourself to be really conscious of it and then also like if you see it happening with other people, maybe they feel that way, but there's also a better chance that they're just not aware of it.
That's
so
true.
Like kind of trying to like meet people to where they are and like try to like maintain eye contact with them and see if that helps let them be more comfortable.
I think it's absurd that on a daily basis, we're in close quarters with other people and have no idea who they are, have no idea what they're saying, what they look like, what their personality is like. I'm sure you've all written Uber pools and Lyft lines and not have no idea who the other people in the car look like at all because you don't even look at them.
Yeah, that's a great example.
It's time to take a quick break so we can tell you about our current sponsor, Audible. What would it look like if we all listened more? Listening to audiobooks inspires us, motivates us, even brings us closer. And there's no better place to listen than Audible. You get access to an unbeatable selection of audiobooks, including bestsellers, motivation, mysteries, thrillers, memoirs, and more. We've really been enjoying our subscription to Audible, listening to our past guest, Dr. Alexandra Solomon's book called Loving Bravely, and so many other books as well. We get to choose 3 titles every month, 1 audiobook, and 2 Audible originals you can't hear anywhere else. The best part is that you can listen on any device, anytime, anywhere, at home, at the gym, on your commute, or just on the go. Get started with a 30-day trial when you go to audible.com/dateable or text DATEABLE to 500-500 and listen for a change. Again, that's audible.com/DATEABLE or text DATEABLE to 500-500 to get started. Now, back to the show.
Resolution number 2, expand your type. I feel like we say this every year, but I want to really drive this home because our friends who've gotten married or are in relationships have always ended up with people I never pictured them with.
Yeah.
Because they always dated a certain type. And all of a sudden they meet someone who's like, I didn't picture you with this person, and they end up with this person. It just shows you that we only know what we know.
Yep.
So the people you've dated in the past, yes, you were attracted to them. There's a pattern, but there's also a pattern to why they didn't work out, right? Yeah. I feel like the person you are meant to be with may not be someone that you've met already.
We talked about this on Margot and Elisa's episode as well, that it's like some of it's like, is this your own preference or is it a preference that's been kind of given by society and like how you grew up? Like, is it just like the people you're used to? Like, where is this really coming from, and kind of trying to be a little more open might open some doors.
You know, in our season finale for season 7, we talked about the episode called Marriage 101. We talked about social constructs. When you react a certain way to something, where you have a affinity towards something, it's better to question why and where it comes from.
Yeah.
So when you know your type and you think about like your patterns of dating the same person, instead of saying like, I should just keep dating this person, you should ask why. Where does this come from? Where does this stem from? Is it something that like I've developed over time, or is it something that was like given to me, you know, by culture and society? So it's always good to learn about yourself, why you have a certain type, and it's always good to push yourself out of your comfort zone. And that's how you grow as a person too. And that brings us to resolution number 1. We need to connect more. I feel like all of these really lead to this one point. We need to make more connections. And one way to make more connections is asking the why. You know, in addition to asking the why with other people, you ask the why with yourself. And that's how you connect with yourself too.
Yeah, I think that like staying in the moment too, like if you're like on your phone or like distracted by other people, like it's really hard to connect with someone. So like if you can kind of pretend in a way like that's the only person that is in the place at that time, like that really can help you like zero in on each other and have that point of connection.
So some ways to really connect with someone on a date, whether you feel attraction towards them or not, it doesn't matter, because you are giving them your time and they're giving you their time, right? So use that time to make a human connection. And one way to do that is to get rid of all that anxiety about what you're doing after this date and what you're doing tomorrow, your to-do list. Be in the moment and say, what makes this person tick? I want to know. Why did you choose to go on this date? Why did you choose this city to live in? Why did you choose the career path that you've taken? All these whys will lead to a human connection. You're going to walk away from that date feeling a lot more productive and a lot more like I am a human being and I met another human being and not a drone. Okay, so Julie was laughing at me earlier because we were talking about my mom's friend who over the holidays told me that I needed to be in the moment more by appreciating each moment that I have. And he said one way he does this is taking like having a meal, for example, where he chews everything 30 times, and every chew he's feeling gratitude towards his food. Some of you probably already do this as like mindful eating, but this like mindfulness of being in the moment really helps you connect to the world and to your environment. And that's also going to help you connect with other people. All right. So that concludes our top 5 dating resolutions for 2019. I feel really good about this year, right?
Yeah, I think it's going to be a good year.
I feel like that at the end of 2018, people were so open to finding solutions.
Yeah.
As opposed to just complaining.
Yeah.
There was less negativity.
Yeah,
right?
I agree.
So we're optimistic about 2019, and we want to hear some of your dating resolutions too. So definitely let us know. Reach out to us on dateablepodcast.com. Okay, we're going to wrap up this episode. It was a quickie, but a goodie. And we'll be back next week with a fun episode too. Until then, guys, we're still booking guests for season 8. If you would like to be a guest on our show or know someone who'd be a good guest, definitely reach out to us. Yeah? On that note, stay dateable. Happy New Year.
This episode of Dateable is brought to you by 500 Brunches. 500 Brunches connects like-minded people with similar interests to meet in real life over brunch. You answer a quick questionnaire about your interests and how you spend your time, and then they'll match you in small groups of 6 to 8 at a brunch spot in San Francisco. Get a free entry into a brunch now by signing up at 500brunches.com and using the code DATEABLE.
If you didn't know already, we have a revamped website with articles, videos, and content all about modern dating. You can also find our premium Why series, where we dissect, analyze, and offer solutions to some of the most common dating conundrums. We've had some great feedback about how actionable these episodes are, so check them out on our website or iTunes Music.
Also, visit the site today to see the latest about coaching, where we connect you with Dateable approved experts to help with everything from dating profile reviews, coaching, and even gathering real feedback about your dating style in a personalized and affordable way. To connect with us, visit dateablepodcast.com. You can also find us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, all under Dateable Podcast. Don't forget to subscribe and auto-download the podcast on iTunes or your favorite podcast player so you never miss an episode.